me.
Okay. All right. I guess we are live. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Gina DiGirolamo with the Heart of Paso. I've got Bobbi Conner here with me today. Hi, Bobbi. And she is from the Natural Alternative, which is right in downtown Paso Robles. I have to point out one thing, Bobbi, real quick, though, before we start. I'm excited because I got my new Heart of Paso
little sweatshirt,
little swag, little sweatshirt here.
Love it.
Yeah, I decided to make sweatshirts, t-shirts, things like that. And I'm raising money for Orale's doing this Adopt a Family feeding program. So I've been donating some money to that. So so it's been cool. But in any case, Bobbi, I want to talk to you about your wonderful store, all of your offerings that you have for our community. Why don't you first just start off by telling everybody who you are, where you're located, why you started the store, some things like that.
Sure. Well, my name is Bobbi, and I opened the store in 1995 after completing some studies in traditional medicine, herbal medicine, and I just felt there was really a need for people to be more proactive in managing their own healthcare. And simple things such as nutritional counseling for diet. There's so much information and misinformation out there, especially on the internet. But my studies began because of my own poor health growing up. And I had a lot of issues along the way and even into my 20s, late 20s. So when I found my own health turn around dramatically by changing my diet, which I already thought was good. My dad was a farmer. I ate a lot of vegetables, but I did love baking cookies every Saturday. And I didn't really know what vitamins and minerals were all about. And my health truly suffered for a number of reasons. And I just wanted to turn that around. So I did embark on some studies, Trinity College of Natural Medicine, graduated with a certificate in herbal medicine, and then I moved on into bigger courses on nutrition. So I'm a certified nutrition consultant, and I'm also certified in applied clinical nutrition. So my focus is on functional medicine work. Someone walks in with digestive disorders, for instance. I don't just walk over and give them an enzyme. They get the 20 questions, and they do get nutritional counseling because I want to know what foods may be triggering that. Are they drinking enough water? Are they exercising? It always is key. And I help them choose the right supplement for them while I give them a little bit of counseling and education as well, because that's what empowers people to take care of themselves, is knowing why this is happening. And that was where I was. I didn't know why I was sick all the time, why I have this constant cold, constant sore throat. I took vitamin C, but what does vitamin C do for you? So I really wanted to learn everything I could. I like to turn over every rock. And I'm still learning, still studying, still working through courses. And I love it. It's my passion. So started in 1995, and the name The Natural Alternative just popped into my head one day as I was driving around. And I knew I would love to open a store where people could truly be helped when they walked in and not be overwhelmed with a whole, shelf or 2 or 5 or 10 shelves full of just vitamin C. And what's the difference? And what do I take for immune support? What's the difference between olive leaf and oregano? I mean, some things are appropriate for some people and not for others. And
there's so many choices, it seems like.
There are too many choices. And online shopping can be tricky because, number one, there's a lot of counterfeit supplements out there on the market. They are packaged the same and look the same as some of your high-end products like New Chapter, but inside it's a counterfeit product. So I will have people say, oh, I tried that. It didn't do anything for me. Didn't feel a thing. Maybe it's rhodiola, which is an adaptogen, which they should feel. So, hey, let's try a better quality because some supplements can be adulterated, especially if they're purchased online or from box stores. And we know the quality of what we carry here.
Right. And expiration. Oh, I hear the train. Is that the train in the background?
Yeah, we got lots of stuff going on.
I love it. You know,
Mhm.
it's that's right in the heart of Paso. The train goes right through the heart of Paso.
Right. Yes.
It's great. And just real quick, I want to point out again where exactly you're located.
Okay.
Aside from the address, you are on Pine Street between 13th and 12th. So
Correct.
you are in the
Mhm.
heart of town.
Right on the corner of Norma's Way, and everybody knows Norma Moy. Yeah.
Yes. Elmer's Way, that wonderful little alley,
The alley. Yeah.
across from the Odyssey. And you've been
Yeah.
here. So yeah, you said since 1995. So you have been here
Correct.
for quite a while.
Yeah.
And so before we get deeper into maybe some of the practices you do, let's
Mhm.
just kind of jump fast forward to a few months ago when we are hit
Yeah.
with this huge pandemic. How did that affect, first of all, your business, and a little bit you personally, being somebody who's such a strong advocate for integrative health?
Well, initially, people just flocked to the store, and they cleaned us out of zinc and vitamin C and NAC and elderberry. I mean, our shelves were just emptied because they were wanting to stock up on things they knew that would support their immune system. And that's what I think a lot of people have forgotten is it's not about just wearing masks and washing your hands.
Mhm.
It's the internal environment that is going to create the stage for viral infection and how well your body responds to that viral infection if you do succumb. So initially, again, and to restock the shelves was tough because our suppliers were out, and so we did the best we could with alternatives or to stock from whatever sources we could get, but maintaining the companies we know and the quality that we know. And when people came in, educating them again on immune support. And diet is important, stress management is important. Fear can lower the stress response.
Yes.
And so we had the hand sanitizers here, which we still do. So people could, they were buying those up, but also just to be proactive, supporting that immune system, which with maybe taking elderberry, vitamin C, and zinc daily. And quercetin and zinc actually are very, very effective against viruses. So as we're learning and we're researching this COVID because it's so new, um, we were just trying to relay information that we were aware of to our customers coming in. So as we went on and the businesses closed down downtown, we did remain open. We were considered essential.
Mhm.
And people were very happy about that. A lot of them, still fearful, would have us do curbside. They'd call it in, we'd ring it up, and then we'd, have our masks on and we'd run it out to them to the car.
Right.
Others would still be coming in, with their masks on because they want to, pick and choose what they want. So we
Mhm.
were very careful along the way. Everything is, we don't use, Clorox, anything like that here, but we used a disinfectant that we carry, antimicrobial, that would
Mhm.
clean the counters, clean the merchant machines, clean the registers, and we were constantly washing our hands as well. So we just try to calm the fear with people. And
Mhm.
again, it's getting back to being proactive with your health, knowing what it takes to keep yourself strong. And
And
eating healthy is important, and sleeping well is important, and stress management is important.
right.
Mhm.
So do you focus just mostly on, I mean, these are the basic tenets
Yeah.
of good health,
Mhm.
right? And in this
Right.
situation, is that what you do, is try to keep focused on that, because it
Mhm.
is so difficult to know what other information to take in?
There's a lot of information and misinformation, and I think people are, well, I have to say it, they're watching too much of the news, and it's creating more and more fear. And so people need to be more open to, really looking at the whole situation. And I know prior to this, and every year during flu season, we would have people coming in daily during the winter, and they'd have a sore throat or they'd be having a fever, and we would help them. And we certainly never got sick here. I mean, we still did everything that we needed to do, wash our hands and take care of ourselves. But customers coming in, we never got sick from. And so they were fighting viral infections. Again, this is an unknown with this COVID. It's a little bit different, maybe more contagious, but People just need to try to calm their fears and just support their immune system and overall health.
Right, right. I don't think people realize as much as how, and I've been a big advocate about watch your news diet. That's
Yeah.
like it's like shoving your self with junk food.
Well, that's the other thing. What we saw were not just people fearful about catching COVID, but they were truly feeling depressed
Yeah.
or on the other end of the spectrum, just so anxious that they
Mhm.
couldn't get a grip on things and they weren't sleeping. So we do sell CBD here,
Mhm.
and I personally use it, and it
Mhm.
works amazingly well. We're all hit with that anxious feeling at times,
Right.
just to kind of calm the nerves and allow yourself time to process things and manage the stress. And then there's
Yeah.
adaptogens that help with the stress
Yeah.
response. Like ashwagandha is one of my key herbs for helping support that stress response and help you have sort of a calm energy. And when you have that, I think you can look at things in a little bit more
If I
focused
frozen,
way.
Bobby, I'm sorry. Sorry if I'm
No,
interrupting you also.
you're moving
Okay.
around. I see
Okay,
ya.
good. Sometimes things freeze on my side, so,
Yeah.
I may have lost a little bit of the last bit you were saying. We were talking about
Okay.
the CBD,
Yeah.
and sleep, and
Yeah.
I learned the hard way too that sleep is so important to really flushing out all those
Yeah.
toxins. It's kind of a reset button for us.
It is. That's when the body really rebuilds, and you need that deep restorative sleep. And
Mhm.
that's what a lot of people were missing, and I think still are, because they're looking at things, they're just focused on the fear factor.
Mhm.
And that's where, if you feel like you have some kind of control over your health and how strong you maintain your
Right.
health and your personal environment stays safe, I mean, that's key.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's really the only thing we can control is our own space, our own personal environment, and
Right.
our way of thinking and all of that.
Hmm.
Rest of it, we really can't. And I think that's one of the things we're definitely something I've been learning more and more is through the situation is we can't control everything, and we have to get comfortable with that idea. You
Right.
know, I think.
Right. Yeah. And do what you can, and then you got to leave the rest to a higher power.
Right, right. Whatever that is for you,
Yes.
I totally
Mhm.
agree with you on that. So let's talk a little bit more about some of the services that you can offer
Okay.
to people. Let's say, and I think too, obviously everything's changing, right? The way healthcare is changing. A lot of people are going to virtual doctor visits now and
Right.
things like that. And I think it's great. It saves people a lot of time and stress of going to the doctor and that contact of if you are sick. How are you incorporating that into your
Mhm.
practice?
Well, I do consultations by appointment, and of course, that kind of came to an abrupt halt. So I was doing phone consults.
Hmm.
But what I miss is sitting across from my client,
Yeah.
because you see so much more. I mean, I can see skin color, I can see the eyes, I can see even so much more than what they're telling me by looking at them, by their
Hmm.
facial expressions, by their responses to me. And I can't get a lot of that over the phone.
Hmm.
Wasn't doing the FaceTime. I just hadn't reached that point yet. I was hoping to, eventually open up, which I have, and I'm doing consultations now in the store again. And again, we're sitting across from each other, but masks are worn.
Hmm.
And I do hair analysis as well. And I've started doing a lot more hair analysis. People coming in really wanting to know what's underlying some of their health issues that aren't showing up in their blood work. So I'm still working with people that way, but I am absolutely on the floor with anybody that has questions or phone calls. I will spend time answering their questions as well. And if it really gets involved, I will typically recommend an hour consultation so I can get deeper and review their lab work and their diet and medications and contraindications with any supplements they may be taking. So I do dig pretty deep and I look at the whole picture. But
Okay.
it's nice to have them sitting across from me.
Wow. So there's a lot in there that you just mentioned that
Mhm.
I wanted to kind of ask you about. First of all, let's just talk a little bit more again about your credential. And in case anybody's just joining us now, I am talking with Bobbi from The Natural Alternative and Bobbi Cameron. And Bobbi, what are some of your certifications? And can you explain to people like what you are able to provide as a health services provider as
Mhm.
in comparison to the traditional way Western doctor that people are used to seeing, or a practitioner in that way?
Yeah, and I do work hand in hand with doctors, and when I work
Okay.
with people, just to start out that way, people that are on medications, sometimes they want to discontinue certain medications. I'll review that with them and send them back to their prescribing doctor. And I will work with the doctor and speak with the doctor if they request me to do so. But I started out in probably the early 90s with studying herbalism as
Hmm.
medicine. So I did get a certification as a master herbalist through Trinity College of Natural Health. At that time, my boys were little. And so, in lieu of, they get a cold or a sore throat or a cough, I was making herbal tinctures. I would buy the dried herbs, or I'd be growing some herbs and making glycerite tinctures, but they never got medicine. They never really needed it. So, and to see how effective those things were just pushed me further into wanting to learn more. But nutrition was always a strong interest of mine. And
Hmm.
so I enrolled in the American Academy of Nutrition. And again, these are all accredited courses.
Hmm.
And I received my certification as a nutrition consultant. And then I joined it's the National Association of Nutritional Consultants. So my designation again, CNC.
Okay.
And then I went further into learning clinical nutrition, which is digging more into functional medicine, which incorporates lab analysis. And I love lab chemistry because it all comes together, the herbal medicine, the nutrition, the diet. I need to know medications, contraindications, and deficiencies caused by the medication, because sometimes people will give me a list of symptoms that are ongoing and they match up with the medications that they're on. So we discuss
Right.
all of that. And the lab work, when I look at labs, I will pop the numbers into functional values, which are tighter ranges, which are values that are meant for healthy people, or healthy ranges and not average ranges.
Hmm.
So I can see if someone is approaching like a thyroid disorder before they fall off the cliff and then they're medicated. We can address it sooner by diet
Hmm.
and maybe some herbs that will give some thyroid support.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
what a
what I've
great,
done.
it's interesting, really, everything that's coming together during this pandemic is we're also learning about our food sources.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's been issues with that. And this holistic approach, it's great. I have a friend who's an incredible neurosurgeon down in LA, and
Mhm.
he's been on this path too about a holistic approach
Mhm.
to everything, and how we've become so incredibly specialized in areas where we're not talking to each other. Like a nutritionist isn't talking. A lot of doctors don't know anything about nutrition. They were
Compartmentalized.
never taught that
Yeah.
in medical school,
Right.
and it's so important, right? And I mean, everything
Mhm.
about the pandemic showing how we're all related, how deeply it can have ran around the world like that.
Right.
And it's just another metaphor of
Mhm.
how we're all connected, our body, our mind, our spirit, what we eat, all of it.
It's Chinese medicine in a nutshell.
Right.
You don't just treat a sore throat. I mean, you treat the heat in the body and the imbalance in the body. So there's just so much more to medicine than, like you were just saying, compartmentalizing medicine. A
Hmm.
specialist here, a specialist there, and the two don't know. They don't talk to each other. So the
Hmm.
patient is all over the board with all these different medications.
Yeah.
And what does this combination of medications do? That hasn't
Hmm.
been studied. So again, medications are necessary in
Yes.
some circumstances, maybe many circumstances, but many times through dietary changes and lifestyle changes, people can be medication free.
Hmm. Yeah.
Not everyone, but some can.
Yeah, I do want to put the disclaimer. We're not saying that anybody should ever go off their medications, especially not without talking to your doctor. But yes, and it's great because I do kind of have my finger on the pulse of what's happening in more progressive hospital situations and things like that. And they really are trying to pull everybody together more and really not so you have all these specialists. And if you do, you have a team, but that team is working together, and you would be a great team member to have.
Yeah, every doctor's office should have a nutritionist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because we would have less type 2 diabetes. And that's where I see, this population going in our country is the obesity issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just our food, but it's how our food is grown and prepared and packaged and processed. So it's an awareness with people, but with blood sugar, I start to see people edging towards that insulin resistant state, which the next stage is then type 2 diabetes, where typically the lab range would show if you cross over that blood sugar of maybe 100, 110, then you're ready for medication. And wouldn't it be better to catch you before you reach that point?
Right.
Because there are ways, and it's really pretty easy with diet and lifestyle to reverse insulin resistance.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, that's great. I mean, we could, excuse me,
Go on.
This conversation could go on many, many different roads.
It could.
So I'll just bring us back in, rein us in a little bit more about, the reason for the show is the heart of Paso, and to connect us all and to let each other know what our businesses are doing, our organizations are doing, how we can support you as a business as you're working to support us as well. Now, you did mention that you are getting back into being able to see people in the store. Will you continue to do or continue to try to expand the virtual experience for people? And is there also a way, is there something too that maybe people could take record of themselves being a little bit more self-aware to be able to give you more information that you might need?
As far as virtual, it's something I could look into. I just didn't feel a need for it. But with the COVID, again, I just started with the phone consults, and I do long distance consults. So that's probably something I will look into in the future with my team, educating me on that area, because it's not something I'm really familiar with. And I just love meeting people one-on-one. But I would absolutely do that, because I do reach out to people that are even out of state, and I've done consults. But I would like to say, aside from me and what I do, but the store itself, when we opened, we're carrying the highest quality lines here in the store. We don't buy for price, although we do work the reps for price, but we buy for quality. And I want to see results. And if it's on the shelf and it's not giving me the results with the customers that are coming in, or we have a couple returns on an item, it loses its shelf space and something else goes up, because there's nothing on the shelf for the most part that we wouldn't take ourselves. So I want to have a really clean store, and I want supplements to be quality, and I want to know the companies behind those products. So everything is third-party tested, no heavy metals, nothing adulterated. The herbs have to be very clean from the right source. So we get results, and we do see results. The other thing we have are our personal care products. And it's important to me that what we have out there is clean, because personal care products, skincare products, deodorants, body lotions, they can contain parabens and fragrances that are known endocrine disruptors. So they can disrupt that delicate hormonal balance in the body very, very easily.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up real quickly. I'm going to put up on the screen. I'm going through the Facebook page, and you guys have some photos of the store and some product. Okay. Maybe we could just kind of, roll through a little bit of that. And let's see here. That's actually, that right now is your website.
That's our website page.
Yeah. So that's your regular website. So I'm going to actually add something different. Let's try this. And it's a great space. I mean, it's a small, I like it because it reminds me of a really nice, well prepared apothecary of some sort.
Yeah, it's a small
It's
space.
small, but we got some great stuff in there.
It's nice and open. We like to have it very user-friendly, so people wander around, and there's always a team member out there ready to help. What can I help you with today? What can I do for you? So you're not wandering aimlessly. But the average customer that walks in doesn't just, unless they're a repeat customer, which we do have many, but typically they come in with questions.
Yeah.
So I haven't.
Yeah, I've often done that myself. I'm like, okay. And what's great is every time I've come in, immediately someone's like looking and they're like, okay, well, do you have a question about a product? And I ask them, and they're very knowledgeable, because it is confusing. We're looking at, though, at the refrigerator at raw probiotics here.
Those are all the probiotics, and they're all 20% off, all the refrigerated ones right now.
Oh, right now.
Life, doctor formulated.
That's good. I'm showing current product.
Yeah. And this is something that literally blew off the shelf. People were making their own hand sanitizer because they couldn't buy it anymore. So yeah, the aloe vera was gone, but it is definitely needed right now as we move into the summer with the heat. I actually got my first sunburn, not being prepared, but yeah, my legs were a little bit on fire for a couple of days, and that aloe really takes the heat out.
Yeah, it helps quite a bit. Quite a bit.
And we're getting into the collagen here, and especially with women, concerned about their skin, skincare, certainly on the outside, nice lotions, but from the inside, collagen is essential for all of that connective tissue. And you'll find your hair and your nails respond well as well. So these are little beauty bursts that you eat. They're little raspberry candies, which are very popular, as our gummy vitamins are for adults.
Okay.
And
I'm going to look into that. I had some. I actually want to ask you a question. It's funny because so I was like, after her shower, or actually I think it was before I got in my shower the other day, and I had been working in the yard, and you could see your skin is drying up. And I was thinking about, as I'm aging, there's all this like, anti-aging products, but there's a lot of doctors like, we shouldn't be anti-aging. And I had this thought to myself of, I'm not really worried about aging, but is my skin showing me something that I'm lacking that might be better for my health overall?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Because anti-aging products are everywhere, and the skincare that's being sold, again, has endocrine disruptors. A lot of it will have estrogen in it, and it doesn't have to be labeled on the ingredients. So that throws people's estrogen. You think of men don't need more estrogen, but it's in their anti-aging creams that they're using as well. So going from the inside out, and again, a good diet, stress management, and sleep go a long way, but collagen is amazing. And we have customers, using it routinely and loving the effects of it and what they see from it. And there's also omega-3 fatty acids, which are, people have that dry condition, dry flaky. You need more omega-3s, which a lot of the population is deficient. So there you go with the flax oil, flax seeds, chia seeds, fish oil. I do fish oil daily. Yeah. So there's things that you want to do to take internally that will show on your, externally on your skin.
Right. I'm going to pop up. There's a popular item, right? We've all heard a lot more about elderberry.
Oh boy, that was the first to go. Yeah, with COVID, and we're still getting it in slowly now. But elderberry during a normal cold and flu season, it is one of the most effective antiviral supplements around, and it's very kind to your body. It's just elderberry, but there have been some studies in Israel where it actually shows where the virus is blocked from entering the cells.
So and when I just want to clarify, so we're careful here. And when you say the virus, do you mean a virus, or are we talking? Okay.
Flu, cold, just prior to COVID. COVID's a different animal.
Right.
Again, there are other things that we've found in research that may work with that. Again, no claims are being made, but with the elderberry, it was studied against the flu virus. And they found it blocked that virus from replicating within the cell. And it's an Israeli study, and I don't know what the date is, but it could be looked up on PubMed.
Okay. Yeah. Great. That's good. There's some of the CBD. I wanted to show. There you guys are out in front. Is that your main team?
Yeah.
Great. We want to give them props for sure. Are your team members also educated in the same avenues that you are?
Yes.
Wh-
Well,
in
not,
different degrees?
different degrees. So, Nick, the gentleman that we have on board here, he is an EMT from Oregon, but he's also a cardiac technician. He works at a hospital as
Oh,
well as here. So, and he's also a certified health coach through
awesome.
it's an integrative nutrition. It's an online, it's one of the largest nutrition schools in the United States. So he has that certification as well. But the great thing about Nick is when people come in and we do ask them, what medications are you on? Because there are certain contraindications with herbs or
Hmm.
certain supplements. So Nick, he can pretty much off the top of his head um, tell me what the medication is, what the pathways are that it affects, and where the contraindications may lie. And we will, back that up. We'll double check. We'll look at that. But yeah, Nick is a wealth of information there. And Victoria, she's standing between Nick and I there. She's a store manager, and she's also certified health coach through the same
Hmm.
school as Nick. And she's ongoing study now into more functional nutrition work. But she's amazing at keeping the store just rolling.
Yeah.
So she's taken a lot of weight off my shoulders, my little shoulders here.
You got to have a good team for this, that's for sure.
Oh boy. And Mariah, who is to the left of me, if you're looking straight on, she's a doula, but she has
Very
about
good.
35 years of experience working in health food stores up in Santa Cruz. She
Hmm.
retired and then she moved to this area, and I lassoed her in, and she's wonderful. She knows our companies and reps, and she loves working with customers and giving her experience and what's worked with people throughout time. So she's wonderful in helping customers. And Sandy, she's doing essential oils. So she is certified in essential oils and blending and therapeutic uses of. So she's our go-to when it comes to essential oils used therapeutically.
Yeah. And the other thing you guys have a lot of in the store, I don't know if I'm gonna find any pictures here. I'll look real quick.
Mhm.
Is you do have a lot of food product too,
Uh-huh. We
right?
do. Well, we have a sort of a moderate food section, and we try to bring in organic, but we have a lot of different nuts, raw nuts and seeds that
Hmm.
are organic. And we have a lot of our protein powders for meal replacement shakes. We have things like gluten-free oatmeal and, bran and organic coffee and a lot of teas, a lot of teas.
Yeah.
And then we have cacao, and we have local honey, two different types of local honey, which people love now for allergies.
Yeah.
And a lot of, stevia, xylitol, monk fruit, which is my favorite, is a non-caloric sweetener.
Okay.
Yeah.
All kinds of
So
goodies.
I do a little shopping here as well.
Yeah, I bet. I bet you do. Wow, Bobbi, you were worried we wouldn't have at least 30 minutes of stuff to talk about, and here we are at 32 minutes. So it's
Yeah.
been really good.
Mhm.
Let me ask you, what do you see in, like I said, nobody can read, nobody has a crystal ball right now. What do you
No.
see happening in the next year, let's just say, for the natural alternative as being in the heart of Paso? Do you have
Right.
anything you want to share with us about that?
Well, we were getting ready to celebrate our 25 years in business in April, and we, at the last minute, pulled our ad and pulled all of our planning for that big day. But what I have done in the past and I love to do is give classes,
Hmm.
whether it's on, female hormones or depression, anxiety. We've had many classes, so I'd like to get back into doing that again. With
Okay.
social distancing and what we're going to be allowed to do in the store is all up in the air right now. But
Hmm.
maybe I could do, and like you say, virtual classes. Maybe I
Yeah.
could just start doing little snips of once a week of a little, pearl that I could throw out there for people.
Yeah. That's
Because
just it.
I think people just need and they crave the education, and they feel so good when they know um, how to improve their own health. You
Yeah.
just put it back in their hands by giving them some little pearls on, how to do it. Even baby steps. Most people need to go in baby steps.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing, right? We're all get like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. And then you just go, oh,
Uh,
screw it. Get me the chocolate
no,
chip cookies or whatever.
no. You
Uh,
give them three things, and you start with one. And
okay.
it may be just starting by eating breakfast. or making a smoothie for breakfast. Let's just start
Okay.
there, leave the rest alone, and then you wait a few weeks, and then you try
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah. So just building blocks. I really like that idea. I think that's
Yeah,
really great.
it works the best with people. Yeah.
Great. So, Bobbi, the best thing, so people could come right to the store.
Yeah.
They could call and order as well. You'll give them
Yes.
bring it out to them out on the curb if you want a
That's
package,
right.
right?
We ring it
Okay.
up, receipt and all. We just run it out to them. Yeah.
Perfect. And would that just be they call you and you talk to them and you can put stuff together? Because it's not really an online store anyways right now
It's not an
anyways, right?
online
Okay.
store, and I'd prefer to talk to them because sometimes they
Sure.
may want a product that they don't need. And if
Yeah.
I know the customer, I'll ask them, well, why are you
Hmm.
ordering that? Or why do you think you need that? May not, I mean, sometimes people walk in and they walk out with nothing because they don't really need what their neighbor's taking.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, Bobbi, thank you so much. You're a wealth of information. And like I said, we could talk for hours and we could probably even do some repeat stuff. And, maybe
Sure.
that's something we do down the line where we,
Post-COVID.
yeah, or even during in the next, if there's something special that you want to make sure people know about, or maybe, there's going to be new information, all these things happening. But in the meantime, thank you so much for your time today, Bobbi. Really appreciate it. I know that people are benefiting greatly from the natural alternative and have been for many years. And congratulations
Appreciate
on
that.
your 25th anniversary.
I
Unfortunately, sorry, it's not the way
know.
you had
Doesn't mean I'm getting
envisioned it.
older, though.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, thanks, Bobbi.
Thank
I just want to quickly say thank you to everybody who's been watching the show. I want to say, please share the show. We've got great information, great guests. Bobbi was fantastic just now. Go watch the replay if you're just catching this. It was Bobbi Conner from the Natural Alternative store in Paso Robles. She's a nutritionist, certified nutritionist, and can help with so many different things for you with your doctors, part of your team. We all need a team, and I think that's great. I will be back tomorrow. I have Mr. Gary Eberly from Eberly Wine on the show. I'm very excited about that. I mentioned earlier, I'm excited about my sweatshirt. Shameless plug. And that's it. All right. Everybody stay safe. Love you and see you tomorrow.